We now find out that voters in the tiny town of Fremont, Nebraska, are approving a strict ban on hiring or renting property to illegal immigrants. Fremont's a town of about 25,000 that's seen its Hispanic population grow over the past 2 decades. And the man who wrote the bill, Chris Kobach, is a constitutional attorney. He's the primary author of the law in Fremont. He also helped, by the way, draft the Arizona immigration law. Mr. Kobach is also a candidate for Secretary of State back in his home state of Kansas. Chris, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Why does the town of Fremont need this law?
Well, Fremont is like so many towns in the Midwest. It's a meatpacking town. You have a meatpacking plant on the outskirts of the community, and that industry has hired so many illegal aliens that what typically happens is, even though 30 years ago that plant would have been full of U.S. citizen workers, nowadays the majority of people in that plant are non-citizens, and a very significant percentage are illegal aliens, and that brings in all kinds of the consequences of illegal immigration. It just overruns the city's budget.
What are those consequences when you know, you're about to say the city's budget, when you're nowhere near the border and your Hispanic population right now is only 7% of the town?
Well, it's important to note that the Hispanic population isn't necessarily the illegal population. It's true that the majority of illegal aliens may come from countries south of the United States. But when you focus on illegal immigration, the numbers tell a very important story, and that is that the average illegal alien-headed household costs taxpayers $19,600 more a year on average than they pay in taxes. So the rest of the U.S. citizens' taxpayers have to support that illegal alien household. And in a small town, that can have a huge impact. It can drive down the performance of emergency rooms. It can hurt the schools, because the schools may have to adopt English as a second language programs, as they've had to do in Fremont, and that drives out other expenditures and other programs.
You mentioned this meatpacking plant. It's my understanding one of the main meatpacking plants is outside of the city limits of Fremont. So they would be exempt from this law, would they not?
The employer provisions of the law. And that's why the law has two halves. It has an employer half that says you can't knowingly hire an illegal alien in Fremont, and it has a renter half that says you can't harbor illegal aliens in your apartment. So although the employees of that plant might not necessarily fall under the employment half, many or most of them will live in Fremont, and this ordinance will bar landlords from harboring them.
What you said in your first answer was based on the employees who were hired by these meatpacking plants. And what I'm telling you is that the main plant is outside of town, right?
Right, and that's why the harboring, the landlord provisions will affect the employees of the plant. And of course, remember, you might have a household, or you might have a group of illegal aliens. Not everyone's going to work in the plant. Some will work in, supporting stores that come into, restaurants perhaps, that come in with the illegal alien influx into a city.
Okay, one more point here, Chris, in the minute I have left. You know you're going to face legal challenges. The ACLU says it's getting ready for a legal fight already. How are you going to win that legal fight?
Well, we already have won similar legal fights in other cities. For example, Valley Park, Missouri had an employment ordinance very similar to the one in Fremont now. We won in the 8th Circuit. The 8th Circuit U.S. Court of Appeals is the same circuit that covers Nebraska, by the way. So we're very confident that this ordinance will succeed in the courts.
It is something we will watch here in the town of Fremont, Nebraska, and also in the state of Arizona. Chris Kobach, thank you for your time today. Who's coming to us from Kansas City, Missouri this morning. All right, back over to Mark.